Hey guys, Victor here, coming at you with another deck profile, and for today's video we'll be doing an updated Dark World Fiendsmith list. Now, of all the Dark World variants, this is probably my favorite of the bunch just because there is just so many different plays and avenues that one can take in order to set up like a big accomplished board. And compared to like the other more traditional Dark World strategies where like they're all basically all in type of decks, this one can definitely play like more mid-range, I guess, while still having the ability to pretty much go like full degenerate if you so choose. So, with that out of the way, let's jump right into it. As always, we're going to be starting off with the monster lineup first, and the first card, as is always the case with these decks, is going to be Genta, Gateman of Dark World, who I will always be playing at 3 because it's literally the card that just gets the entire engine rolling, right? You discard it, and then you're able to add the Gates of Dark World from your deck to your hand, and then from there, you get to start discarding, you get to start drawing. When this card is banished by literally anything, and you happen to control a face-up Dark World card, it comes back as a free level 4 extender. Like, this card, it just does so much of the deck. I don't know. Gotta play 3 of it. Then to accompany our 3 Gentas, we are still going to be playing 3 Snoww, Unlight of Dark World. You just discard it, and then you're able to search your deck for literally any Dark World card. So it's just like another key piece that gets you whatever engine requirements you may need for whatever situation. And then I guess technically you could like mess around with the ratios on this one. But I don't know. I feel like this is just the type of card that I always want available to me, which is why I max out on 3 of it. But to each their own. Then finally, for the final 3 up, it's of course going to be Reign-beaux, Overking of Dark World, who, when this one is discarded, is able to search your deck for any level 5 or higher Dark World monsters. So this is how you get grapha, or in the other cases, you can also get cards like Sillva, Gold, Lucent, whatever. As long as you're level 5 or higher, you can add them to your hand, except itself, obviously. But the main power from the cards such as Reign-beaux comes in the form of its graveyard effect, where you're able to bounce your face-up Dark World monsters back to your hand in order to summon it from the grave. So it provides you with a 3k body that you can proceed to link, exceed, whatever with, and then it also replenishes your hand so that you can continue discarding and gathering even more advantage. So yeah, 3 Reign-beaux, gotta play it. And that's it for the 3-Os. And then for the 2-Os, we're playing 2 Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World, which, I mean, its discard effect is just a pop a card, which honestly doesn't even really matter all that much, especially because this is a going first deck most of the time. But that effect is mandatory, so if you discard it, you do have to activate it even if there's nothing to destroy. But yeah, we don't really care about that. What we do care about is the graveyard effect, where much like Reign-beaux, it's able to bounce back face-up Dark World monsters to your hand in order to summon itself. However, unlike Reign-beaux, its restrictions are a lot less impactful, I guess, because it can bounce back any Dark World monster except grapha. So you know, you can bounce back your Reign-beaux, your Sillvas, whatever. It just can't go grapha for grapha. That's it. Then for the other 2 up, we're playing 2 Sillva, Warlord of Dark World. So I guess I should probably explain why I play Sillva instead of playing something like Gold or Lucent. And the main thing that continues to make me want to play Sillva over those 2 is that whenever you have the grapha fusion, right, and you're able to trigger its effect and then discard a card, this is the one that gives you the most value because you discard it and then you're going to be able to loop 2 cards out of your opponent's hand during your turn and their turn. So even though we're not focusing on the hand loop, it's still very much an easy thing to pull off because of grapha existing. And just that little edge can sometimes straight up just win you the game because your opponent goes from something that just they're probably trying to like bait something out, right? And then you negate it, you send your Sillva, and then you force them to lose 2 more cards. And then by that point, with all the field presence that you have, it's very, very difficult for them to come back. And that's basically the main reason why I play Sillva over the other ones. But yeah, with that, that's it for the Dark World portion. And then for the other monsters that we're going to be playing, this is a Fiendsmith deck, right? So we're going to be playing the 2 Fiendsmith engravers and the 1 Lacrima, the Crimson Tears. I have once again cut Larry from the deck because I got tired of drawing it. And if I'm being honest, a lot of the time, whenever I activate Tracked, I'm not even discarding the Lurie, I'm actually discarding the Dark World monsters instead, especially if it's like a Sillva or just something that literally any of the ones that I want in the graveyard. So Sillva, Snoww, Reign-beaux, even grapha, right? And then we'll just keep like the engraver or whatever that we added in our hand and use it at some point later in the turn. Like, yeah, you could justify playing the Lurie because you can still discard it off of like Gates of Dark World, but I'm just done with that card, honestly. I'm so tired of drawing it. So yeah, that card's gone, and I don't miss it. But that's it for the Fiendsmith portion, and then we are going to be playing some danger monsters. So as a result, we're playing the 2 danger Tsuchinoko, 2 danger Jackalope, the 1 danger Nessie, and the 1 danger Mothman. So I guess I'll just briefly talk about the danger monsters themselves. So when it comes to Danger Mothman and Danger Nessie, these 2 are basically the least important of the bunch as they're literally just there so that we have like an extra body and like an extra outlet to discard cards. But when it comes to cards like Danger Jackalope and Danger Tsuchinoko, these are actually way more important because they provide us with level 3 bodies that we can proceed to exceed with into the Mellow Melody, the Brass Djinn, which is going to be our Light Fiend in the extra deck that gives us access to a full Fiendsmith engine whenever we basically want. And these are basically the only two that like guarantee it, right? Because Tsuchinoko either summons itself or summons itself off of its effect, and then Danger Jackalope either summons itself or if it gets discarded can summon out a Tsuchinoko from the deck. So that was basically my reasoning as to why I played more of these two over the other ones. And then as far as cards like Bigfoot and like Chupacabra are concerned, they're just like they're not like bad, but they don't really do anything either. And I wanted to make sure that every danger monster I played actually did something, which these four basically always do. So yeah, that's basically my rationale with why I played that specific ratio for the danger lineup. And then for the other engine that we are going to be playing, because the overall goal of the deck is to summon out the Mellow Melody, that makes something like Tour Guide from the Underworld basically broken, right? It's a 1-card rank 3 that gives us access to the Mellow Melody, and we are going to be taking advantage of other cards as well, just to be able to further maximize the engine, such as Buio the Dawn's Light, which is basically the main target that we get off of the Tour Guide. And what this one does is, so you can summon it from your hand if you happen to draw it. So right off the bat, it's already a free extender. But the more important aspect of Buio is its graveyard effect, where if it's sent to the graveyard, you're able to search the Mutiny in the sky, and that one basically just allows us to fuse into any fiend or zombie fusion monster by shuffling back cards from our graveyard. And yeah, just the amount of plays that you can make off of that one card alone resolving is kind of silly, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, this card, but you don't really need to play more than 2, right? Because we're summoning it off a Tour Guide, and even though we can summon it from their hand, we don't really want to. But this engine, when it comes to this specific variant, is it's actually just insane how much value it generates. And that's not it for the monsters. We're playing one more in the form of Versago the Destroyer, as this is going to be something that we're going to be sending off a Cherubini, which we are going to be adding to this specific version of the deck. And it just opens up even more plays that we can make. So yeah, pretty much a valued addition to the deck. And with that, that's the monster lineup. And now we can finally move on to the spell and trap portion of the deck. As is always the case with the spell and trap lineup, it's incredibly small compared to the monster lineup, but every single card in here is still incredibly impactful. And as a result, the first card we'll be playing is, of course, the Gates of Darkworld, which I will always be playing at 3 because, let's face it, despite what you guys may think and tell me that I'm wrong constantly, this is basically one of the main consistency cards, right? It's not a brick. It literally just gets your entire engine rolling as you're able to discard, draw, and just continuously cycle through your deck as often as possible. But I know not everyone feels that way, and that's perfectly fine. I'm a very huge fan of 3, the Gates of Darkworld. Then that's it for the 3 ofs, and then for the 2 ofs, just one card being Dark Corridor. Now, this is actually a card that I very much consider bumping up to 3, just because in a deck like this, we can't really luck our way into a Dark World monster like we can with Danger Darkworld, right? And so you basically need ways to open up a Dark World card and discard it as consistently as possible. But even so, because this is a 40 card list, I feel like we can get away with playing 2 Dark Corridor, as it's not like we're going to be drawing bad hands. And even if we just open up like the Fiendsmith engine itself with like just Tour Guide or whatever, that's still playing to be able to play the game, and we don't need to rely on the Dark World portion to play the Dark World deck, as crazy as that sounds. But yeah, 2 Dark Corridor, perfectly fine. But like I said, this is definitely one of the ones that you can play around with the ratios, probably the most out of all the spells and traps. So definitely something to consider. That's it for the 2 ofs, and then for the 1 ofs, we're playing the 1 Dark World Accession to be able to fusion summon during our turn and the opponent's turn. 1 Call by the Grave to negate hand traps, 1 Triple Tactics Talent to punish hand traps, 1 Fiendsmith's Track to be able to basically just, like I said earlier, we're not playing Fable Lurry, we're literally just adding a Fiendsmith, usually engraver, to our hand and then discarding a Dark World card to be able to just get that card in the graveyard and trigger its effect. We're playing 1 Foolish Burial in this list, just because there are plenty of cards that we want in the deck that we prefer in the graveyard, and some of the mini targets that we have available to us, right, are Versago, Buio, Grapha, Reign-beaux, even something like Fiendsmith Engraver. Sometimes you don't want it in your deck, you can just send it off of this, or Lacrima, the Crimson Tears, right? But point is, this card allows us to be even more flexible with our plays, so it's another nice addition to it in my opinion. And then for the final spell, we have the 1 Mutiny in the Sky to be able to ensure that the Buio gets max value, and that we can pretty much set up instant fusions whenever we want. That's it for the spells. And then for the traps, we're just playing the 1 Fiendsmith in Paradise because this is a Fiendsmith Dark World deck, right? So you want to be able to take advantage of cards like the Desiree in the extra deck, and just have like another form of interaction during the opponent's turn. And with that, that's a spell and trap lineup, and now we can finally move on to the extra deck. Now that we're on the extra deck portion, we're going to be starting off with the Exceed monsters first, and the first card is going to be Mellow Melody, the Brass Djinn. We don't care about the effect, we only care about that it's a light fiend monster that's very easy to make because we happen to be playing cards like Tour Guide from the Underworld and our level 3 danger monsters. So that's really all it's there for, to help us bridge into the engines a lot more easily. And then for the other Exceed, we're playing the 1 DDD Wave High King Caesar so that we can give ourselves even more protection from just general nuisances during the opponent's turn, and ensure that if our opponent does have the Nibiru, they have to burn it immediately. Otherwise, it's going to be completely ineffective once this card hits the field. And that's it for the Exceeds. We don't play anything else. You don't really need anything else. And for the links, we're playing the 1 Fiendsmith's Requiem to be able to summon out our Fiendsmiths from the deck. 1 Fiendsmith Sequence, which allows us to basically fusion summon any of the Fiend monsters in our extra deck, which we play plenty of. And we're basically never using this to summon out Desiree. We have plenty of other solid targets that we can bring out instead. So yeah, this card gets a lot more usage out of this deck than it would in like a normal just Fiendsmith slop deck. Then we're also playing 1 Cherubini Ebon Angel of the Burning Abyss. Because we included Versago into the list, I basically have to play the Cherubini, as the main play with this is you go normal Tour Guide, summon Buio, link 2 into the Cherubini, and then from there you go chain link 1 Buio, and chainlink 2 Cherubini to send Versago to Destroyer as cost. So even if the Imperm or Veiler it, the Versago's still in there. And just like that, you're guaranteed a fusion summon of something at that point, because the Mutiny in the Sky is going to be guaranteed added to your hand. And yeah, you know, pretty cool option to have. You do have to be a little bit careful, right? Because that means that if you happen to go into this, going into the Fiendsmith engine is going to be a little bit more difficult. Like, not incredibly impossible by any stretch of the imagination, but you do have to work a little bit harder compared to before. So, you know, just things to consider. We're playing 1 Muckraker from the Underworld to be able to discard and bring back our Fiends. 1 SP Little Knight as just like a good generic end board piece. And then the final link monster we're playing is a Baoku, the Lightless Shadow, who's basically like the premier boss monster of the deck, and it's incredibly free to summon because of cards like Fiendsmith Sequence, just basically providing us with infinite fodder to go into this. But both of its effects are really solid, right? You get to discard a card for cost, so it doesn't trigger your Dark Worlds, but that doesn't really matter in most situations. And what it does is you either get to reborn a light or dark in your graveyard, which, I mean, everything in this deck is basically light or dark, or you get to pop a card on the field. So yeah, this card, it's just super cool. You guys love that vocabulary? I do, right? Super cool. Great way to describe things. Now that's it for the links. And then for the fusions, we're playing Aerial Leader to be able to foolish any fiend from our deck. The Duke of the Mize, which is probably my favorite fusion in the extra deck just because of all the utility it provides, as it gives you an extra normal summon. So for those hands where you're able to open up double Tour Guide, right? This card just makes those hands so free, as the typical line that you would go with that is you go for the Cherubini line first, and then offer your extra normal summon that this card provides you. You get to normal summon your Tour Guide again, and then this time you'll be going into full Fiendsmith combo. So yeah, this card's pretty solid. And then its graveyard effect is also really good as well, as you can just banish it to add a level 4 or lower Fiend monster from your graveyard to your hands. So this is a great way of being able to replenish cards like your Gentas and your Snowws. So, you know, just something to be aware of. We're playing the Necroquip Princess to be able to turn Lacrima into a level 6 Fiend. Fiendsmith's Lacrima as just another fusion target that we can make. That gives us a free rank 6 basically whenever we want. Fiendsmith Desiree, which is technically like a negate, but like I said, we're saving this for the Fiendsmith in Paradise instead. And then that's it for those. And then for the final fusions, we're playing the 1 Grapha Dragon Overlord of Dark World, just to be able to have some kind of like pseudo negate for our opponent's normal spells, normal trap, and monster effects. And then lastly, we're playing the 1 Chlorless Chaos King of Dark World, because we do play the Versago, so this card is an incredibly easy summon that just allows us to wipe our opponent's entire board. And with that, that's the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!